Hi, and welcome to the Ability Bridge podcast. We help teachers and parents find the support and resources they need to guide students with diverse needs towards success. We do that by offering on-demand, best-in-class training and community for parents and educators and professionals, because everybody wins when the relationship around the child is thriving. Every month, we're going to be releasing a new podcast episode discussing ways that we can help these relationships thrive and the things we can all do as the team around the child or young person to see a huge difference in the impact of our collective efforts. I'm Ian Richardson, and I'm dad to 2 children with diverse needs, and I do my best to advocate for families and seek out ways to help the relationships between home and school be the healthiest and strongest they can be. I'm joined today, and will be every month, by Lynn McCann, my friend and my co-host of the Ability Bridge podcast. Lynn worked as a primary school teacher for many years and set up an outreach service at the specialist school, and realised that there was a great need for good practical autism support and training in mainstream schools, from which Reach Out ASC has grown to become a much sought after team for training, advice and support for autistic children and young people. Lynn, it's so good to see you. How are you today?
Hi Ian, I'm all right. I'm a bit hot.
Oh gosh, silly crazy weather in England.
Yeah. We haven't said that you're in Canada and I'm in England, have you? But
I know we're
I
across
kind
the
of
pond.
I've got an ice pack to put my hands on, and I brought my book along to talk about. And then I thought, it makes a good fan. So, yeah,
It makes a great fan.
I think we'll be all right.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you don't melt too much
No, I'll be all right.
while we're here. In Canada, here where we are, where it's hot, but we have air conditioning, which you not have in England.
We only need it
thing,
2 days a year, don't we? So,
so there's no point really. Lynn, today we're talking about sensory diets and social stories. So it's great. We're just getting started. Obviously, this is our first go at this, but we are gearing up for some exciting workshops coming in October. And we're going to jump straight in because we want to be really respectful of people's time. But what's the difference between sensory diets and social stories? Because I definitely don't know.
Yeah, they're both approaches that are often put into education, health and care plans, or individual education plans, depending where you are in the world, to help autistic children. And, we get lots of questions. Well, this is written down. What do we do about it? So, very simply, a sensory diet is a individual program of sensory activities and accommodations that you might make around a child. And they're just created to help a child or stay calm and alert, or focused and organised throughout the day. So they're scheduled and they're regular, and they just give that child those anchor points throughout the day. And some children get overwhelmed by sensory experiences, so they need calming or what we call low arousal activities. And some children feel lethargic and sluggish, and so they need physical and movement activities. So it's all very, very individual, very effective.
Really powerful when it's done right.
Oh, yeah.
But you get quite annoyed, don't you, about bad social stories?
No, we'll go on to social stories first.
yeah. Sorry, tell us a bit about that sensory diets. Okay.
That's sensory diets.
So social stories.
Yeah, but you're showing exactly what the confusion can be, isn't it? Because when you just say them quickly, they sound quite similar. So sensory is all about our interactions with the world and our regulation inside our body. A social story is about our interactions with people and the world around us in that way. So social stories are a written or a recorded explanation, usually with visuals, and it follows a set format and structure. And what it is a document or a thing, a video or whatever, that the child can learn something from in a really positive way about the social world around them. And it might be like, I'm going somewhere new and this is what it's going to be like. Or it could be, those people are a bit confusing, explaining what's going on, or even giving them advocacy skills. In this situation, I could do this to stick up for myself or to tell people what I need. And they're very, very useful, again, used correctly.
Yeah, I think I mean, we've had this conversation before, but my only experience of social stories is when we did move from the UK to Canada, and you helped us with Aaron, who is our youngest, who has Down syndrome, with visually helping him understand what the journey was going to be like, because it was going to be long and complicated and quite stressful, potentially.
Yeah. And it's those that I get a bit cross about.
Ones that go wrong. What does it look like if it's bad then?
Yeah, well, anybody who follows me on Twitter always knows I'm twittering about this, because there's always a conversation about social stories. My first beef is that it's often written down in the document to say this is what you should do to help the child, and then nobody mentions getting trained. So a lot of bad social stories are written by very well-intentioned people who are trying to help the child and have picked up the wrong idea about them. And so they write something that actually harms a child. And they harm them in the way that they're trying to get the child to do what you want or you think they should do, without really understanding what they're all about. Now, I can't explain that all now because that's what the course is about. but one beef I have is the lack of training, which is why we put our workshop on. And then that responds into, bad social stories that don't really help. But the second one is, if you're not really careful and use the right wording, what they do is actually make the child a lot more vulnerable to being exploited and being taken advantage of by other people, or leaving them just really confused about a situation. And the worst ones make the child feel really bad about themselves. So, it really pays off to learn how to write them properly.
So is it, because that sounds like a really important thing for us to do all we can to get right. Is it hard to learn? Not
really. There's just some rules to follow. It's like everything. And you start with understanding where the child's coming from. Hey, who'd have known? And just building up from that, the child's perspective. But then there is the certain sentences and words you can use. And that's kind of once you have all that structure and you can actually work within that framework, it's like giving the child a writing frame. It just makes it a lot easier. And you're more likely to have a successful outcome then.
Okay. So start with social stories then. Give us just a handful of your top tips to get us. Just give something that we can actually learn really quickly. Well,
that's it. A lot of people find social stories online. And and I'd say, honestly, 80% of them are not good. So how do you recognise a good one? Well, they should always be positive and affirmative. That's my top tip. It should celebrate the child and give them something to learn and to build their confidence. So that's top tip number one. If it doesn't do that, don't touch it, really. Number two is to make it personal. So anything that you find online, or indeed in my book, because I've got a whole load of templates in this book. And when I got the publishers to put it together, I made sure that they put a CD in with Word documents so that every single story could be personalised to each child. You can use their interests, you can use pictures and photographs, and even cartoons or their own drawings that's personal to them. So that's number two.
Great.
Number three is to avoid negative sentences about the child at all costs.
What's an example of that then?
For example, I get angry when somebody takes my toys. That's kind of really blaming the child.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A story about that would perhaps explain to a child, depending on their age and cognition ability, might be explaining is that toys in a school or a nursery belong to everybody, and we all have a bit of time with them, and other people might like a bit of time with them as well. That's an explanation of the social world of toys, rather than saying you must give that toy to another child when they ask for it.
Right. Okay.
Which is compliance, isn't it?
Yeah. Would you say? I'm thinking about some stuff that's happened with us. I'm thinking with Aaron and with some of the training we had around Down syndrome. And is that similar, or is it different? Just to make sure I'm understanding it right from the point of view of. So instead of focusing on what we didn't want him to do, because that just lands in his head, that thing. Rather we flip it so it's positive. So don't say, don't fall down the stairs, Aaron.
Yeah.
Be careful, or hold the handrail, or whatever is more positive. Is it similar to that?
It goes one step further. So
Okay.
it actually explains the why.
Okay.
So I realise this is a podcast and I'm talking about my book. It's actually called Stories That Explain.
Okay.
But that's because that's what social stories do. They explain the why to a child. So as you said, being positive and telling a child what you do want or what's best for them or what's a good idea in a situation is fine. But it's the why that builds up their social understanding.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. Guys, we're going to go into more detail on this in the workshops, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I think switch from social stories to sensory diets then for us, Lynn. What are your tips from that point of view?
Yeah, well, every autistic child that I know has really benefited from a sensory diet from the time I worked in a specialist school to now I'm working with mainstream children. And that is just a time in the day or regular times in the day where they can just kind of centre themselves. It's like, your senses are all scattered and you're just bringing them back together to a calmer place, which gives you more tolerance for other things like social communication demands, work demands, teachers telling you what to do, things like that, parents telling you what to do. But a sensory diet is really centred on, again, what the child's sensory profile is. Now, again, in the course that we're going to do, the workshop, we're going to tell people how to find that out, because it's not enough time in a podcast to do that. But my top tips are, so number one is getting to know those sensory needs individually. And you can observe the child, you can ask them, and if you're really lucky, you might get an assessment. Usually that's done by an occupational therapist who is sensory trained, and always ask, what their training is. We have an occupational therapist who is sensory trained working with us. She's fantastic. Gives us a lot of really good information to work with for the children that we support. So number two is to make sure you schedule those sensory activities regularly throughout the day, so that the child or young person knows when they're happening. That's really important. But also, so that's like your main meals in a diet. That's why it's called a diet. When your dinner and your tea is, lunch and dinner are going to happen. I'm northern, so we have dinner and tea. But when those things are happening, so, you can kind of sometimes keep yourself going till the next meal, can't you? But sometimes you just really need a snack. For me, it's about 2:00 in the afternoon. You need a bit of a pick-me-up because you're feeling lethargic or out of energy. So that's why we call it a diet, because you have those regular meals that are scheduled in, and then you've got the opportunities for snacks. And that's kind of looks like it might be a fiddle box or an area you can go and have a bounce on a trampoline or something. So those are all available to the child to help them with their, regulation really of their sensory needs. So that's number two. And number three is don't stop doing it. If it's going well, don't stop offering it to them, because that's a sign that it's working. And this is what we find some trips people up sometimes. Oh, they don't need that anymore. And then they're wondering why the child's getting dysregulated. Keep it going. It might change, it might develop, but don't give up on it, because it's a lifelong skill that they're learning, really. So it's a kind of a permanent support, but it might be, we would want that child or young person to take hold of that skill themselves at some point. I know you've said about Aaron before, Down syndrome children will really benefit from a sensory diet, in my experience. That needing to move. Needing to do things that help him regulate as well. So it covers a wide lot of children with any kind of sensory processing need.
I think, I think I'm a sociable person the vast majority of the time, but I need my space to recharge. And Sam, who's 17, who's autistic, our son, he will, and he's at the point where he's developing an understanding of those skills himself and doing really well at starting to implement those skills himself. So he's been helping at a theatre camp for 2 weeks, actually just this week. So every day this week. And he just very much needs to decompress at the end of every day. And then Aaron yesterday had a whale of a time at a friend's house, jumping up and down the trampoline in the sprinklers. So I had an amazing time, didn't want to leave, but really needed to just crash when he got home. We've got to be deliberate in our actions, the steps that we take and the support we give them, both of them, for, if we then expected them to go and do something else, that's an unreasonable expectation, isn't it? And I guess what I'm saying from my point of view, I need that. Lynn, how much more does somebody who's autistic or somebody who has those kind of additional sensory struggles or needs need that kind of support?
To be honest, when we work with young people, it's the first thing we go to, because if we can get the sensory situation right for them, and it might be environmental things, it might be give them a quiet area to go to, or take some things off the wall, or give them a nice cushion to work on that they can bounce a bit on, but it kind of just then allows the window of tolerance, as we call it, for other things to widen. And if they're on high alert because they're nervous about, or somebody could make a noise, that's going to upset me, then it kind of reduces all their ability to attend to other things. And in a school and at home, and I like sensory diets because the connection you can give between home and school. If you communicate together and say what works together, you can have that flow that goes through, so you don't get a child who's having that Coke bottle effect. We talk about this a lot, don't we, where they're shook up all day in school because there's no outlet for it, but they keep the lid on because they're too ashamed to lose it at school, and then they go home and whoosh. And a sensory diet is like easing the pressure off that lid, going ksh, 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 throughout the day, so it's not all, in a big fizz by the time they go home.
That's really powerful, Lynn. Thank you so much. And those are things that we can do straight away, aren't they? We'll be looking at these tips and lots more in 2 workshops that are coming up in October. So if you're ready to go deeper, do head over to theabilitybridge.com, which is our website, and click on workshops to find out more. We're going to be going into lots of detail on these. We've put them quite close together because we're kickstarting the new year and tied it together with launching the podcast as well. Our passion is to see the lives of children and young people with additional needs and disabilities changed by making really good resources and training available to them and those who support them. So to access all the workshops and all the courses and all the resources as an individual or as an organization, as a school, you should also check out the memberships page on our website, again, at theabilitybridge.com. Lynn, anything else that you want to add before we really wrap things up here?
No, I think we're at a good time of the year to start this off, aren't we? If you get to know about these things, even in that first term in October, you've got a chance then to get things right at the beginning of the year for your child, and which will help smooth out how you work together through the rest of the year. And so that's why we're starting with these.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Lynn. Join us for the next episode of the Ability Bridge podcast, where we're going to be looking in more depth at social stories and hearing stories about the impact they can have from Lynn. That's going to set us up really well for the workshops that are happening in October as well. It's a huge area. There's so much to cover, so make sure you join us and check out that as well. That's all for the Ability Bridge podcast this month. Thank you to my friend and my co-host, Lynn. Lynn, thanks for all you do. And don't forget to check out the website at the Ability Bridge for free courses, memberships, workshops, lots more, and find us on social media across the board. Everything you'll find there is created to help you support the children and young people in your lives with diverse needs, because everyone wins when the relationships around the child are thriving.